for China is heating up. In 2020, over 2 million electric vehicles were sold worldwide, which brings us to a total of 10 million EVs, which also includes hybrids, on the road today. China alone accounts for half of the worldwide total. Let that sink in. This means that the overall success of today's EV makers is, to a large degree, dependent on how much market share they have in China. The best example of this fight for the Chinese market is Tesla versus NIO. Let's roll the intro. Hi, I'm Fanny from Studio Invest. In this video, I'm not going to tell you which EV maker is going to crush the other. What I will do is break down both Tesla and NIO's operations in China and how they each differ in their approach to serving the Chinese market. After you watch this video, you'll be able to form your own opinion on which EV maker will become the most successful in China. So, keep watching. Like I mentioned before, China is the world's largest electric vehicle market, with over 5 million units sold. But this rapid adoption never would have been possible without help from the government. The Chinese government has been planning to transition to a green economy since 2009. So in 2010, they announced that they would provide up to $9,000 in subsidies for new electric vehicle purchases. The idea behind it was that the government would pass those savings on to the car makers, who could then use the extra cash to lower their car prices. This subsidy would, however, stop applying once 50,000 units of a given vehicle are sold. In that sense, it was purely meant to jumpstart EV adoption throughout the country. Not only that, in 2012, China also cut annual taxes on EVs. Since the majority of Chinese citizens don't even own a car, an $81,000 subsidy was later created for electric buses. These incentives took around 4 years to start bearing fruit in China. Pure EV sales skyrocketed from 14,000 in 2013 to 45,000 in 2014, and has mostly been on an uptrend ever since. A few additional incentives were added on over the years, but all good things must come to an end. Though the government decided to extend their EV subsidies to 2022, they lowered them to only apply to cars that cost less than $42,000. This move disqualified the whole premium EV market and incentivized EV makers to produce cheaper vehicles. The Chinese government has always favored local companies, cherry-picking a few superstars they give extra financial and political backing to. But as the EV industry matures, China has begun to open itself up to foreign operators. Not out of the kindness of their hearts, obviously, but for the strategic purpose of making China the EV world leader in sales and production. We've yet to see if China will push a local company like NIO at the expense of foreign one like Tesla, but we're keeping our eyes peeled. Let's explore this duo's relationship with the Chinese government. NIO was started in 2014. Back then, the number of electric vehicles in China were just under 100,000. The market was ripe for disruption. Due to a lack of serious competition locally, NIO just needed one thing to sustain their efforts to revolutionize the market: cash. A lot of it. And they got that from investors like Tencent, Baidu, Sequoia, and Lenovo. NIO even made some extra billions from their IPO. But it was never enough. NIO had lost over $3 billion in 2018. By 2019, they had about $100 million left in their bank. Before NIO and a few other players, EV sales in China were increasing by a few thousand every year, but not fast enough for China to meet its target on 5 million EVs by 2020. Maybe that's why the Chinese government decided to give NIO $1 billion to keep going. Tesla. The Chinese government has been very welcoming of Tesla. Opening a foreign-owned factory in China is no small feat. The Chinese government has a joint venture policy that famously forces international companies to partner with local firms and hand over their IP to operate in China. One of the main arguments against this practice is that it gives the Chinese government the power to extract trade secrets and feed them to local competitors. Tesla, However, it's the first company that did not need to comply with this policy. In fact, the Chinese government plans to phase it out entirely by 2022. As another gesture of good faith, Chinese banks have loaned $1.4 billion to Tesla for the Giga Shanghai construction, with a 10% discount on their usual interest rate. From the looks of it, Tesla's relationship with China is still on the up and up. But some people are concerned that China is just using Tesla's presence to boost its suppliers and third-party providers. These developments further increase the Chinese EV market value and technological edge, which is something that all Chinese EV makers, including NIO, could benefit from. But just as Tesla open-sourced their patents in 2014 to promote the EV industry, maybe they believe the increased competition is a good thing. Is it recording? Is it on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Pricing. The average car in China is priced at about $57,000. As long as an EV is priced within that range, it is generally accessible to consumers. But making EVs cheaper or more feature-packed than similarly priced gasoline vehicles is what actually convinces consumers to switch over to electric. NIO operates in the premium EV market and doesn't seem to be changing that anytime soon. Contrary to expectations, NIO hasn't announced a cheaper vehicle to qualify for China's EVs incentive. It currently has 3 SUVs available. Each of them has a starting price of between $52,000 to $60,000. In 2022, NIO is launching the ET7, a mid-size sedan that's designed to compete with the Model S. Ignoring all vehicle features, the ET7 has 2 advantages over the Model S right off the bat: availability and pricing. Customers who want a Model S have to import it since it isn't produced in China, and it has a starting price of about $81,000. The ET7 will be widely available throughout China at a starting price of about $69,000, $58,000 without the batteries. So far, Tesla has only sold the Model 3 in China, but has just recently started delivering Model Ys as well. Initially, the Model 3 had a price range of about $54,000, but after the Chinese government updated its EV subsidies in 2020, Tesla had to drop their prices if they still wanted to qualify for it. With this, they cut the Model 3's price to about $36,000.
Say what?
With subsidies included, Model 3 customers ended up paying less than $30,000 for the EV. And the sales figures we'll go over later show that Chinese citizens took great advantage of this. All in all, NIO and Tesla are serving different markets. NIO is winning in the high-end luxury market, while Tesla is winning in the low-end affordable market. But aside from NIO, do you know which Chinese EV maker is competing directly with Tesla on pricing? XPeng. You can learn more about that in our XPeng versus Tesla versus NIO video, linked in the description below. Production. China is the world's factory, the largest manufacturer in terms of output, producing about 20 million vehicles last year. How much of this total are NIO and Tesla responsible for? NIO. Unlike Tesla, NIO isn't building up manufacturing experience as they scale up vehicle production. They have outsourced the production of their cars to Yak Motors and plan to continue doing partnership with local manufacturers wherever they open another factory. As of December 2020, the Jack NIO Advanced Manufacturing Center in Hefei exceeded 7,000 EVs produced per month. This gives them a production capacity of 84,000 cars per year, which is just 16,000 cars short of their target capacity. Tesla. Though Tesla didn't have any operations in China for over a decade after their first car, that didn't stop Roadsters and Model S from being imported there. Since 2011, Tesla started taking baby steps toward operating in China. First, they opened showrooms, then service centers. It wasn't until late 2018 that Tesla began construction on their 3rd overall factory, but their first one outside of the US, Giga Shanghai. The factory will be ramped up in phases. Phase 1 was built to produce the Models 3 and Model Y, with a target production capacity of 250 cars per year. But they didn't stop there. By the end of 2020, Giga Shanghai started producing 32,000 vehicles per month. It's also estimated that Giga Shanghai will produce 500,000 vehicles in 2021, a full year ahead of Tesla's targeted date for this milestone. China currently makes up 20% of Tesla's annual revenue, with over $4 billion generated in 2020. With these rising numbers, China might soon account for the largest portion of Tesla's vehicle sales. Giga Shanghai currently has over 2,000 workers, which is mind-blowing considering this output. To put things into perspective, the Chinese factory employs about 33% less employees than the average Gigafactory does. Sales. Though EV sales have been rising due to the lowered costs, vehicle sales on the whole have been declining in China since 2017. But the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers expects total sales to increase this year. They are expecting new energy vehicles, which includes electric, to account for 1.8 million out of the 26.2 million cars sold in 2021. NIO. Due to the pandemic, in the first quarter of 2020, NIO's vehicle sales dropped by half, but they recovered strongly during the rest of the year. NIO has delivered more than 43,000 cars in 2020, which brings their total sales to over 80,000 vehicles. By the end of the year, we can expect NIO's total vehicle sales from 2014 to 2021 to exceed 100,000. NIO is still playing catch-up here, since Tesla does that same volume in China alone over the course of a single year. Tesla. As I mentioned before, they started producing the Model 3 a year ago and has just started producing the Model Y. Deliveries dropped to about 3,000 in February 2020 due to the COVID-19 outbreak, but later rose to an average of 10,000 to 12,000 per month throughout the year. During the first half of 2020, Tesla vehicles accounted for about 20% of the total EV sales in China. The Tesla Model 3 has become the best-selling electric vehicle in China by a wide margin, selling more than 100,000 units in 2020. That's a 160% increase from the 42,000 Model 3 sold in 2019. Next to EV subsidies, Giga Shanghai was the most important factor to these sales. It has enabled Chinese citizens today to buy Teslas locally and save a ton on import taxes. China is 9.6 million square kilometers. Huge! As an EV owner, your greatest fear is being stranded somewhere with a dead battery. Here's what NIO and Tesla are doing to ease that anxiety. NIO is building two forms of infrastructure for their electric vehicles: conventional charging stations and battery swap stations. For the charging stations, they are prioritizing interoperability as shown by their partnerships with both Xpeng and other charging providers to help build more than 30,000 stations in China. NIO has more than 170 battery swap stations today and will be building 500 more in 2021. Tesla's goal in 2020 was to have 6,500 superchargers in China, adding 4,000 to the 2,500 they already had. Tesla managed to add 2,000 superchargers last year. So, in total, Tesla has about 5,000 superchargers and more than 700 supercharging stations in China to date. For comparison's sake, the average supercharging station has 10 stalls. In 2020, they built hundreds of stations, ramping it up toward the end of the year. They've even gone so far as to launch 29 stations in one day. Whoa! What's even crazier is that they broke their own record for the world's largest supercharging station at the Jing'an International Center in Shanghai, which houses 72 supercharging stalls. To keep up with their increasing vehicle sales, Tesla could easily add a few thousand more supercharging stations throughout China in 2021. Services are oftentimes an afterthought when talking about electric vehicles. But think about it. Would you buy a regular car without thinking about how you're going to maintain it, upgrade it, or keep it running smoothly? NIO. About 15% of NIO's total revenue in 2020 came from services. While this number seems small in comparison to their vehicle sales revenue, NIO has service-related offerings that are yet to be matched by the rest of the EV market. Chief among these are battery as a service, battery swapping, and service mobile. Let's run through the main benefit of each. Battery as a service is enabling NIO to reduce their vehicle prices and generate monthly cash flow. Battery swaps are perfectly positioned for the Chinese market, where most citizens don't have garages and so can't benefit from at-home chargers. The service mobile is a maintenance van that meets you wherever you're having vehicle problems and will either bring your car to the service center for you or perform basic repairs and charging. Tesla. Service centers are what started operations for Tesla in China. In December 2020, Tesla's China VP, Grace Tao, told Weibo that they built more than 150 experience centers in China. These centers serve as a variety of purposes: displaying their cars, hosting sales consultations and test drives, performing vehicle maintenance. Tesla's China seems to be catering their approach to the Chinese market, not just blindly following the lead of their US head office. As a telltale sign, they have launched their own car wrap service in popular cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen to offer customers more color options. Hey, that's it for today, guys! For most of their existence, Tesla and NIO have competed from afar. But since 2019, they have been at each other's throats to win over China, the world's largest EV market. Join our Discord community to discuss EV stocks and suggest future video ideas. Who do you think is going to capture more market share in China? Tell me in the comments below. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more EV analysis videos like this. I'm Fanny, and we are Studio Invest. See you next time. Skulle jag göra något mer?
Oh, is it recording?